Ikat is the word for tie in Malay, and it's another resist dyeing technique. When making ikat, the yarns are bound in different patterns and dipped in dyes. This is made before weaving the fabrics. As with batik, it can be made a lot of times in different color dye baths. Great artisan skills are needed to make ikat weaves. There are 3 ways to make ikat. Warp ikat, that's when the warp has the pattern. Fill or weft ikat is when the wefts have the pattern. And double ikat is when both the warp and the weft have patterns. As the design is created on the yarns before weaving, the ikat weaves have a characteristic blurriness at the edges of the design. In Tenganan at Bali, the very skilled artisans make a double ikat called gringsing, which means sick and no. Due to the high skill and time used to create these weaves, they are considered sacred and only used for special occasions. They used to grow cotton at Bali, but nowadays it's imported. The cotton yarns are boiled in water and ashes to get rid of chemicals and softness and to get the alkalinity needed to absorb the dyes. Natural mordants are mixed using crushed candlenut, papaya leaves and turmeric. The turmeric also gives a light yellow color. The yarns are soaked in the mordant for 3 days. Then the yarns are hung outside for 6 weeks, letting the mordant fix. The light yellow mordant is the ground color for gringsing. The warp and weft yarns are wrapped around wooden frames and grouped depending on the final design of the pattern. The groups are marked with non-permanent strokes to help bounding the patterns. Then the very skilled artisans are covering the parts of the yarns that will remain light yellow. The yarns are sent to be indigo dyed in a nearby village, Bagbag. The yarn bundles are dipped in the indigofera dye baths several times and left to dry in the air between the baths. Returned again to Tengnan, the yarns are resist bound again and dyed again in the red made by bark of morinda or mulberry tree. Again, the color dips and dryings are repeated and the process can take several months. Then finally the resist ties are removed. Warp yarns are placed on the loom, where you can see the first forming the pattern. Then the weft is added, yarn by yarn in the correct place to match and create the pattern. So why am I talking about ikat in a print course? Concini is a classic taffeta design of the Le Manac house, which is now owned by Pierre Frey in Paris. It's a historical fabric created in the Swiss Alps. The silk warp is loosely woven to keep in place. Then it's glued on a cotton canvas. The 7 print colors are measured and prepared before it's printed with screens. The screen printing is made in the same way as on a woven or knitted fabric. Each of the colors have its own screen with its own stencil for its own separated color. When printed, the silk warp is separated from the cotton canvas and you can see the excellent print precision. The warp is washed to remove the glue from the canvas backing and dried by passing between cylinders. Then one of the edges of the weave is cut and the weft threads are removed a few at a time. A few of them are left for keeping the pattern aligned. The 10,000 warp threads are knot one by one to another warp that is already installed in the loom. The weaving is started but needs to temporarily stop as the remaining pre-warp threads need to be removed. The white silk weft creates a dense weave.